I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about Brendan Schaub picks another UFC fighter over Conor McGregor as, quote, hands down the current face of the UFC, unquote. Brendan Schaub has confidently named a current UFC champion as the promotion's biggest star. Okay, hold on, let's try to get this pop up out of here real quick. Sweet. Brendan Schaub believes that we started quick. Israel Adesanya has usurped Conor McGregor as the most recognizable name on the UFC roster. Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya is coming off what could easily be considered the most significant victory of his career after he defeated Alex Pereira in the main event of UFC 287. The rivalry between the two men dates all the way back to 2016 when Pereira won a unanimous decision victory over Israel Adesanya in a kickboxing match. And the following year, the Alex Pereira improved to 2-0 against Israel Adesanya with a third round knockout of Israel Adesanya in another kickboxing match. Israel Adesanya made the full-time switch to MMA following that second loss to Pereira. Okay, that's interesting. And the move paid off in a big way when Israel Adesanya joined the UFC and captured the promotion and captured the UFC middleweight champion. Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya defended his belt 5 times before Pereira arrived in the UFC and stunned Adesanya with a dramatic 5th round TKO at UFC 281. But Adesanya got his revenge at UFC 287 when he knocked out when he knocked out Alex Pereira in the second round. Brendan Schaub claims Israel Adesanya is the current biggest star in the UFC. It was revealed after UFC 287 that Israel Adesanya had suffered a serious injury just days before the event. While discussing the training video on his YouTube channel, go and subscribe to Israel Adesanya YouTube channel, or is it Brendan Schaub's YouTube channel? Everyone has YouTube channels at this point. Schaub claimed the UFC middleweight champion is also the biggest promotion's biggest star. Think about the mindset on this mother effer. Fighting a guy that you've never beat and he's knocked you out twice. Think about the mindset on Israel. Israel. Best of all time, dude. I was the only one that rolled. Okay, what? That rolled with Izzy. He's the biggest star in the UFC, hands down, the face of the UFC. The UFC has had significant stars that have managed to transcend the sport, while most notably, example, obviously being Conor McGregor. Okay, is anything else going on in here that we really need to get into? I don't think so. I was wrong. This is the first time I'm reading this article. I actually thought he was gonna say Alexander Volkanovski. That's what I was thinking. So I was completely wrong about that. Is Israel Adesanya the UFC's biggest star at the moment? I mean, I guess you could say that, but I think there's a difference between being the biggest star at the moment compared to Conor McGregor, right? I don't think Israel Adesanya could outsell Conor McGregor for the most part. Where I feel like there's some fights with John Jones that could outsell Conor McGregor. I don't really see any fights with Israel Adesanya. Like let's say Israel Adesanya versus Dracus du Plessis. Would that outsell Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler? I don't think so. Whereas if John Jones was to fight Francis Ngannou, let's just throw that name out there, I don't see too many matchups that Conor can get that can outsell that match, right? And I also think that John Jones versus Stipe Miocic will most likely outsell Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think it's going to be pretty close, but I feel like John Jones has some matchups that can outsell Conor McGregor, where I don't really see anything with Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya has defeated almost everybody in the middleweight division, so there's no real exciting matchups with Israel Adesanya in the middleweight division. So I don't, I mean, is he one of the most recognizable fighters for the UFC right now? Yeah, definitely. As far as the champions go, yeah, definitely. I would say him and Alexander Volkanovski, those two at the moment are really, really doing their thing. You got to give it to Leon Edwards. He's definitely on the come up. Obviously, he just became champion last year, but you can see his star power and social media influence rising. You see him doing interviews everywhere. Oxford University, I think, is that the recent one? But yeah, Leon Edwards is another one who is definitely starting to reach a different level as far as bringing attention to the UFC fighters. But let me know your opinion of this story. Like I said, I personally think John Jones is a bigger star over Conor McGregor at the moment, or at least over Israel Adesanya. And I also think Conor is probably still a bigger star over Israel Adesanya also. But Brendan Schaub thinks it's Israel Adesanya is the current face of the UFC. But let me know your opinion of this story. I'm Jason UFC. Today we had a story about Brendan Schaub picks Israel Adesanya as hands down the face of the UFC over Conor McGregor and over my boy, John Bones Jones. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.